Okay.
So we'll read it.
Yeah. So hi, welcome everyone to the Women's Health Podcast. I'm Lucy Townsley, and in this podcast I interview people who have lots of different ideas and different therapies that help women going through different stages of their life, be it mentally, physically, so trying for a baby, menopause, perimenopause, through pregnancy, during the cycle. And I actually heard about these two ladies before I ever met them, Emily and Noreen. So and they're the healing ladies from Kiltullagh. That's all how I met you, how I knew about you first. And then I met Noreen through a Pilates class, and she very kindly just they decided to come. Well, I persuaded them to come on the podcast and tell us about what they do. And they're a little bit nervous because they've never done one before. So I'm really honoured for you to be here, and tell me a little bit about yourselves, like how you met and how you started becoming these two famous ladies from Kiltullagh.
Famous. Oh Lord. Hi Lucy, thanks for having us. We are both delighted and nervous at the same time. So myself and Emily have been friends for 18 years, a little bit over 18 years. Emily minded my oldest lad. She was the childminder at the time, and I was working full-time in an accountant's office. I've had so many jobs, I don't know, but I think it was an accountant's office at that time. And Emily was my childminder. So firstly, Emily got me into homeopathy. I just didn't want to go down not that I didn't want to, but I wanted to try
Michael had they were saying asthma
or something like that. And
this was your son. This is your
my
son.
oldest son.
Okay.
So I said, absolutely no way has he got asthma. Absolutely no way.
She was saying to me, I don't know about this, and they want me to give him puffers all the time. And I said, just recently I found about homeopathy, and I went off and I did a course on it. So would you try using that? And she's like, yeah, sure.
Absolutely. And literally hit the ground back. Yeah, the ground running then.
And so what age would he, so I'm interrupting you, what age was your son when you went down the homeopathy route? How did you decide to go down that route?
Well, when my lads, my two older lads are older than Noreen's lads. So my eldest lad is coming 22. So when he was born, growing up, we were never brought to doctors. We were always brought to alternatives.
Me too.
So when he got up and he started getting teeth and ear infections, one thing or another, and he had very bad eczema, and everybody was like steroids, antibiotics, and I was like, my God, there's more to life than steroids and antibiotics. So I need to find a different way. I couldn't be just letting him battle on through everything. I had to find something to help him. And I read an article, and it was about homeopathy. So I said, okay. So I found a really good homeopath. She was here in Crockwell, and she was running a homeopathic first aid course at the time, which was the first course I had done. And it was like night and day. It was all trying to help him battle through all these illnesses, to going, okay, you have a tooth coming in, let's see what we can do with that. So when Noreen started with Michael and he had the bad chest, I was like, well, I have a kit that I got, so you can't go wrong with homeopathy. If you put the wrong one, it just doesn't work.
It flushes out. System.
So she goes, yeah, look, we'll try anything.
And we did. We tried everything.
Yeah. And it worked. So then you went off the first aid course, I think, after that.
I did. Yeah, I did the first aid course then, and literally from then on, so homeopathy was the thing. And then when I had the other boys, I took them to, as well as Emily, took her lads to kinesiology. I loved bioenergy and reflexology and acupuncture. So I was going between all of those. And then that was about it then
we were plodding along like that. I was childminding, she was in and out of jobs,
about 10 different jobs.
Then I stopped childminding because I had 2 more kids within a year. So I went, okay, I better just concentrate on the 4 I have. And then you got quite the youngest.
Yeah. So then how we started with healing therapies in Kiltullagh was 10 years ago, if not more. I just one morning literally woke up saying, I'm going to do a course, and I Googled, and my first course then was integrated energy therapy with Nora Cohen in Salt Hill. And I literally, that first day, I spent the whole day crying at the course. I don't know
what. She cries a lot.
I cry a lot when energy is being released, and like they couldn't believe that I'd never worked with energies before. But I think I was so emotional, and because I found what I was looking for. Do you know what I mean? I was just, they'd ask me a question and I'd start crying. I was saying, oh my God, but it literally felt like home. I absolutely, positively loved it. And then I was using Emily as well as 5 others of my friends at the time as guinea pigs, because you can't go out without,
just go do a course.
you know, you have to practice and practice. And I put Emily into so many healing crises. I don't know.
I used to see her driving up the drive going, oh my God.
Here she comes again.
Jesus, would she just leave me alone? I'm just feeling okay again.
Yeah.
Like, what is wrong with her?
You see, with energy work, you've got to know when to stop and when it is enough is enough.
And when Noreen took a long time to learn when to stop.
Yeah, I really, you know, I'd be working, in particular, do you remember I was working on your liver, and I was like, oh my God, your liver is very bad.
This is great. Oh, there's still more there.
And about an hour later, I was still pulling, and she went into such a healing crisis that night.
Disastrous.
She couldn't talk, she wrapped up, and she was crying, and we were to go out, and she never went out because she was so bad. But that's why it's so important, we feel, to practice each of the modules or each of the modalities that you do, so that you won't,
you know, there's a fine line between helping someone and putting them into a healing crisis. And anybody can go into a healing crisis with any therapy.
Yeah.
But if you
explain to me what is a healing crisis? What is it? What are the signs?
Okay.
Oh, with everybody it would be different. So let's just say somebody different. Well, if it was somebody with grief, we'll say.
Okay, yeah.
You know, they can just not be able to stop crying.
Yeah.
You know, or go into a room like and close the curtains and windows and just can't function.
And go to bed and not literally be able to get up out of bed. Be freezing cold, not be able to eat. And when I say freezing cold, it's a
bone rattling cold.
It's like your body. You see, with the work we do, when we remove an energy, it leaves an empty void. So if you take out too much of this void, the whole body can feel empty within, and the body goes into shock. It shakes and shakes until you replenish it with exercise, laughter, water, you know, all good things to get the energies to flow again.
Walking,
you know, all of this good things. But you just have to know when enough is enough. When you don't feel anymore, you've got to stop. But I just kept on working. I was like, oh, let's try this.
And of course, I was the one that she would push to the limit, like.
So that it was a great learning curve for us, because we go now when we're working on somebody,
we'll stop. And even, you know, it might be 15 minutes into the session, you go, okay, that's to
enough.
Stop.
Yeah.
And then what you can do is like put plenty of good energy back in and ground the person, bring them back into themselves, because their body has had enough.
Yeah.
One example I always remember is with Noreen's nephew who had asthma. And so at the time
you were practicing.
I was practicing and I was only learning, and I'd only done one course, and I was like, yeah, I can feel a lot. And to me, it felt like a little rope in his chest. And I was like, oh, what do I do with this, you know? I'll bring it up and out his throat. Oh my God, he vomited. He fainted. It was just awful on the poor kid. And I were like, we've done too much just there now. You know, that's too much. But we were only practicing.
Yeah, learning is what we were.
Well, learning is about it, isn't it? You when you first start out, you're learning away. But you can't do any damage to the person with this. They just feel quite depleted.
Yeah, no, it's just that they would be absolutely exhausted for 24 hours or 12 hours or
longer. Sometimes, like you used to go into nearly a 2-day freezing. This was at the very start now when we first started out.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm just thinking of if anybody's listening, you know, to this podcast, well, people will be listening to it, that if this has happened to them, that they don't worry. It's just that they've done too much on their energy.
Never at all. It's never a thing to worry about.
Never to worry.
No.
But what we think is probably go to energy healers or workers or whatever that are recommended, that you've heard about, through word of mouth. Make sure that they have good experience and stuff like that. You know, you want somebody that knows what they're doing and knows what they're dealing with, because energy, it's a person's being as well as their health, as well as their well-being, as well. It's their whole being, like, so you have to be just so careful. So careful.
Yeah. So what kind of conditions do you treat? What if someone's coming into you, what would typically be you see in a day?
So we deal a lot with grief. We deal a lot with anxiety. A huge amount of anxiety now since COVID in particular, and especially in younger kids, people. Like as in 5-6-year-olds, all the way up to like 15, 16, 20-year-olds. It makes no odds. People have gotten very anxious.
Yeah, they have gotten very anxious, but we deal with everything. Like, you know, we'd have a lot of people who are going through chemo.
Yeah.
So they come into us and we keep their energy moving so that the body is able to deal with what's going on, you know, all the chemicals
take away
going
the
into
excess. Yeah. You know, we take away the excess so that they're only left with what is needed to help their body
and to just
deal with
bring their body back into itself. You know, you're getting a lot of chemicals pumped in, and you just have to go through that. Like that's part, you know, that's part of the process. Like,
and we deal a lot then with fertility.
Yeah,
as we say, you can't cook a bun in a cold oven. You know what I mean?
Agree on that
so
one.
If the area is nutritious, you know, if everything is cold down there, if the energy is not good, it won't cook.
And I'm sure you get that as well, Lucy.
Yeah,
your work.
a lot. Yeah, a lot. That would be a huge diagnosis in Chinese medicine, cold uterus, and particularly, excuse me, in this country, we live in a cold, damp country, and a lot of girls go around in shorts, and then they in Chinese medicine, a lot of meridians into the womb. Yeah, so we don't really dress appropriately when we're younger. I have two daughters, one older, a little bit older and younger, and they walk around no shoes on their feet, you know, all of those things. Now it's good to walk around with no shoes on, but you need some kind of warmth on your feet, like a sock or something that's going to keep you warm. Keep the meridians warm. So that's
there isn't anything that we haven't dealt with, really.
No, we'd have lots of people with like back pain or shoulder pain or you know, inner aches and pains throughout the whole body.
Yeah.
But at this stage, really, after 10 years, I don't think there's anything that we haven't come upon.
Yeah.
So how did you first, so I know how you met. So how did you decide to work together as a team, and what's the benefit of doing, you know, because it's unusual two practitioners working together. It's not, you know, it's unusual.
I suppose I started out on my own first. Emily had not long given up working, and I wanted a break from people and childminding and stuff like that. So I ventured into converting the room that we're in now. After doing the course, I was gung-ho. My name started kind of getting out there a little bit. I had people ringing me up, could I see them and stuff like that. I just found it so hard. I must say, I felt I couldn't talk to anyone because of confidentiality. I found, you know, when people are telling you their woes and everything, because I'm an empath, we're both empaths, I didn't rightly know how to cut people off. I was exhausted. And then one day, Emily was inside here waiting for me for lunch, and I had climbed up in the bed, and I said, would you mind if I brought in my friend to help me? So I went out and I said, Emily, come in here and help me.
I went, no thanks.
She goes, no thanks. I said, get in here and help me. So in she came.
Like, no thanks. So she literally
dragged me into the door. And the client said, absolutely, 2 is better than 1. And literally from that day forward,
we never look back.
Yeah.
What we found is we feel completely different things within the body. So we move from side to side, we move around the person.
Yeah.
So even though Noreen might have gone down the left side, when I go down the left side, I'll feel something different. Completely different.
Yeah.
And the person will say to you, jeepers, Emily, you're really hot. And you're really hurting me. Or Noreen, you're really cold there. And that's so nice, like, you know.
Yeah.
Even though I would have been there 2 minutes ago and they felt nothing.
Nothing, you say.
But when Noreen goes over to the same spot, they'll feel a difference, like, you know.
So that's why we find, other than the fact we are best friends and we work extremely well together, and we bounce off each other. As some lads said, like we were like Markham and Wise, like that we were inside and like skitting and going on. We've a really lovely, I shouldn't be blowing my own trumpet.
We have.
Go for it.
A good energy to come into. We don't take ourselves too seriously
at all.
We have no ego, like we don't think one is better than the other or anything like that, even though I'm better.
She is, sure. She's older, so we'll have to give her that one.
Oh yeah,
we'll have to let her that one.
So it's just that I find we talk about things, we discuss.
As in when the person is with us, we'll be talking, like if it was you, we'll go, oh, can you feel that there, Noreen? I think that's related to that. And she'd go, no, you know what? No, I'm actually feeling it here. And we're like, okay. you do there and I do there and we'll see what happens. You know, like we're talking about the person while the person is with us, you know, and we just, it just works. Really, it just works.
Yeah, thanks be to God, we're very good. Really.
And we laugh all the time. Like all the time.
Yeah.
I think
so the laughter's bringing great energy into the room, into the treatment rooms. That's kind of part of the heat.
I just think that, that's it. Yeah. And with the work we do, we talk an awful lot inside here, because if the body, as in the client who would be standing between us, if the body hears what we're saying, the body will go, oh my God, that's what's wrong with me. Oh my God, that's why I've been feeling like this.
So we always say, that's why we talk so much. Cognitively, if you hear what's going on, if your body hears, your brain hears what's going on, you go, oh, all right. That's why that's going on within my body.
Yeah.
And the body is a great tool. We don't give it credit for how good it is.
Yeah.
We always give an example. The time Noreen's dad had passed away, her niece was 2 weeks old.
Yeah.
Maybe 2 weeks old.
Yeah.
And she just would not stop crying.
Wouldn't stop crying.
She was just crying and crying.
Even with all the work I do, I couldn't stop her from crying.
So I was leaving here to go, and Noreen had been texting me the evening beforehand, and I was leaving here to go down to Cork, and I said to her, look, if it's any help, I'll take the child away. I'll just take her away and bring her back the following day. And at least that way then you don't have to worry about her. And she was like, you know, Emily, she's crying a lot. And I went, yeah, well, one night with a crying baby isn't going to be the life or death of me. It'll be fine, like, you know. But when I picked her up, I said to her, now listen, this is what's after happening. And I explained about her granddad dying. I explained exactly what was going on. I explained why everybody was so upset.
Yeah.
She stopped crying immediately. She vomited she vomited every single thing that was in her belly. She vomited up. And it was so funny because my cousin was actually driving his brand spanking new car. And he was bringing us back to his house because we were staying in his house. And he turned around to his mum, he goes, I'm not putting that baby in the car. Did you see what she just threw up at her? And we were laughing. We're like, well, you know, we put a blanket above the seat, it'll be fine. And
but she did stop crying.
She never, and like every 4 hours, when I brought her back the following day,
she was like a different child.
She was like a different child. She was absolutely silent, woke every 4 hours to have her bottle. And they were going, what did you do? And I said, well, I just explained to her what was wrong.
Going on.
And, you know, so like, you can't say that was the placebo effect because she was 2 weeks old. She didn't understand about the placebo effect. You know?
Yeah, absolutely. So again, you mentioned empath. You're both empath practitioners. What is that? What does that entail?
If we put our hands onto somebody, we can feel within our own bodies what's going on within their bodies.
And we can feel their emotion. Like if they have a giddy kind of a funny energy, we could be giddy and funny. If it's a really low energy, or if somebody's explaining about something that has happened to them in grief, like we would cry because we're feeling their unnatural grief, like, and it's just, or we can be angry, like if somebody comes in with a serious anger issue, we can we can feel the anger within ourselves. That's how we kind of know what a person's doing. And because of COVID, we're very lucky. We've been working by Zoom, which opened up a whole new
force for us.
Yeah, force for us. So what we do then by Zoom, which we really feel is one of us stands in and is the proxy for the, say for you, say if you were a client online now and we'd chat to you, we'd ask you questions.
And then I'd be your proxy.
Emily'd stand in and be your proxy, and I'd work on Emily if she was you.
But I can physically feel in my body exactly what's going on in your body.
And I wouldn't feel like Emily at all because it's not Emily, it's actually you, because Emily has taken on the energies of you. So
and recently we had a woman who we had worked on Zoom, and then like restrictions lifted and she was able to come, and she goes, oh, do you know what, she couldn't come because of COVID.
I don't know.
So then the following time then she was able to come because she was out with COVID, and she was like, I was laughing because I think I was her proxy when you were just in absolute agony with your legs, Emily. I was laughing. It's not so funny today. And I'm going, no, but it's much nicer on me.
So when we're releasing them, our work is extremely hands-on. We put our hands literally everywhere. We think or we feel more with our hands on. we used to, at the start 10 years ago, we were very hands off, and we were saying, oh my God.
Kind of like bioenergy,
Yeah.
you know, it was very hands off.
So we said no more. So we put our hands on the person, and literally from head all the way down,
literally from the top of your head
down to your feet. And as an emotion is releasing from the body, it is excruciatingly so.
But like, it's a fully excruciating.
Yeah.
You be like, ow, 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 that's really hurt my. Oh, it's gone now.
Yeah.
Do you know, it's not it's going to last for
ever,
for a week.
Yeah.
It's and then people have said to us, and we'd literally only be rubbing them. It's not that we're digging in any pressure, and then they go, you know, I was bruised on my arm where you rubbed me, but you were only just rubbing me with the pads of your fingers. And you're going, that's an emotion coming out. It can. It doesn't with all people, but it can actually bruise you.
Yeah.
It does hurt.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Just for people, it does hurt. Yeah. Well, I think when you've got pain and emotional pain, it's painful, isn't it? It's painful in the heart, painful in the head.
Absolutely.
Yes. And you know, we always people, you know, you can't see anxiety. You know, it's not something physical.
Yeah.
It's not like a broken arm. You go, poor Lucy, she's a broken arm there. That's awful. I'll help her. With anxiety, it's in the body. But that doesn't mean it's not as physically sore and as physically painful and as physically intrusive on the body as what that broken arm is.
It's probably worse.
It's probably more so because you can't see it and nobody can help you because it
can't be seen. It can't
be seen. And if you don't voice it, it's stuck in there.
Yeah.
You know? So then when that is leaving the body, it hurts.
It does hurt.
It does.
And we're talking as it's releasing. So the body's going, oh my God, that's it. And it's releasing.
And they'll tell you when they were having the shower the following morning, I was looking at my chest to see was a bruise, and there was no bruise. It just feels like you boxed me or something. And you're going, yeah, that's it. Just come painting the weight of the chest.
Stop it. We're not that bad, really.
No, I just
it's interesting to say that because it's one of the questions I'd ask my clients when they come in, heaviness on the chest, because you know that's a stuck emotion that's stuck in here. The grief is lungs where it is. Some kind of grief that's gone on there. It's amazing, isn't it? And that would be like an elephant sitting on their chest and
absolutely. And then the arms is their struggle, you know, every part, their legs is not being able to move forward in life, and they can, if they're painful, oh my God,
they're very painful.
It is, but it's exhilarating.
But the funny thing is, if the person, while they might be going through a grief or a thing like that, one of us or both of us may start giggling because they actually have a lovely light energy behind it all.
Yeah.
And then they're feeling the laughter within themselves because the heaviness has started to lift and the laughter is able to come back again, and they'll be like, oh, I felt like I could actually breathe again and laugh.
Yeah.
Do you know?
Yeah. So
as I said,
typically with anxiety, like what would you do for someone?
So anxiety, then
we'll start with the head.
Yeah. So we do a thing called bars, you know, it's like reflexology, but for the head. So we'd open up mind clearing,
which is just to calm
the mind. So bring the energy out of the head. And as we're doing all that, as we keep saying, we're talking a lot, asking them questions, you know, how are they feeling? And as well, we do a thing called access consciousness, which is kind of accessing.
It's like NLP.
Yeah. You know, it's like retraining the brain.
We're using NLP. That's why we're talking all the time. You know, the neuro-linguistic programming. So we're constantly talking. As we're working, it's NLP all the time.
All the time. So we start at the head, and we might even, if the anxiety is really bad, or if...
Oh, you've frozen. Hopefully you'll come back again.
To help the flow, bring it down.
Yeah, to get them back.
So you froze for a sec, you're back again. So
so sorry.
So we got to the head.
So what we do, we'd rub the head actually physically. Then once we've done the bars and opening all the points to help them to feel good, like there's points like
we will douse to see,
you know, dowsing.
Have you ever seen dowsing?
Yeah.
So we will douse.
But show us the dowser. I've seen it, but other people may not have seen it.
We have different dowsers. That one is.
Can you see it?
Yeah.
So what we do, you ask questions. So you'd never just take up a dowser and just expect it to answer you. You have to kind of respect it.
Ask the universe,
So the energy, we always say it's not us, it's the universe is sending down the energy through us to be able to, we've been given this gift. Like we're very blessed. So what we do, there's a series of questions to ask before you use the dowser. So every time we use the dowser, we ask the question, like, can we, may we, will you tell us the truth? Will our subconscious sabotage? And then we say, can we ask about Emily? And then if we get all yes, we go right ahead. And for some people, yes, well, our yeses is like, this is a yes, that's a yes. And then no, show me no, and that's a no. And then just, will you allow me? Then if it's like that, it's not allowing us. If it doesn't do absolutely anything, you can't do anything.
Or sometimes it'll go backwards.
It'll go backwards, or maybe sometimes
side to side, maybe.
Side to side is maybe, if it doesn't know or not. Like, so we use that a lot as well to go back.
So we might say to the person, we have to go back for something emotional that happened, we'll say 6 months ago, and it could be anything. It could be absolutely anything. And
we're asking them
asking loads of questions, and something will come up like, oh, 6 months ago, God, that's when my mum got diagnosed with cancer or whatever, So
we remove that emotion.
So what's happened is you're dealing with it, you're doing the whole going in and out to the hospital or whatever you're doing, but emotionally your body is going, oh my God, what just happened? Jesus. And the shock can sit in the body, or whatever it is will just sit in the body and sit there. So once we speak about it, it can then leave the body. And sometimes, like, I might have to go back 6 months, a year, whatever. Noreen might have to go back 5 years. So there's two different events that have to be cleared at the one time.
That's why two of us together. And we have to see, we always say, when you come to us first, we have to see you 4 times, because we have to, each time.
As we said at the beginning, we don't do too much on any person.
So we do a kind of a little batch, and the next time you come back, new energy will be able to come into the surface. So then we'll be able to remove the next
layer,
emotional layer, and we only feel what doesn't belong. We do not feel the good, as some lads said to us, we're like doom and gloom inside here, but we only feel what doesn't belong in the body. So they could be telling us this tale of woe, and we'll say, no, that's not it.
Because your body has actually dealt with it.
We can feel, it's like
they might say to you, oh, I crashed the car. No, actually, you dealt with that. That's not the issue here.
That's not the issue.
And then it was, oh God, that's the year we had the chimney fire in the house, or whatever. And God, we got such a shock that comes up. And normally we see them 4 weeks in a row, but again, we check with the dowser. With some people, it could be 2 weeks, and then we might have to see them for a month, because whatever the next emotion is that has to come up, it has to slowly come up to the surface. And they'll say to you, I was great until Monday, and this is Wednesday, and I couldn't wait for Wednesday to come.
For us to release,
because the emotion was finally able to come up to the body, and they're going, oh yeah, I really need to go back.
And like sometimes we've gone back when they were in the womb,
or even beforehand.
We've had to go back generational. Like it's not something connected to the person at all. We can do generational work as well. Clear, what is that?
Generational still, what's it called?
I can't think now what it's called. But we can clear generational. Ancestral. That's
ancestral.
Good woman.
Oh, you're right.
So we can do ancestral clearing as well. And we're lucky as well. Emily sees spirits as well. So if we're doing ancestral clearing, she can actually sometimes, if she's in a good mood, or depends on the day, she can see the person. And it's lovely for the client that's in here to hear all of this. They're going, oh my God, that's so amazing, which it is amazing to think that this kind of stuff. And Emily, you can get it down to a T at times.
Oh God, yeah.
And then other times
they come in and go, who came with me today?
Nobody.
So that's why I never say, oh yeah, I can see spirits, because I can, and I have been able since I was a child, but I never go, oh yeah, I can see spirits, because I could have a week here and I'm like on fire.
And
nothing for a month.
It just depends on her form.
If I'm too busy outside of work, it's like, no, we need to give her a break.
They're not coming today.
Not coming today.
We're sitting
No,
outside.
nobody's coming today.
Yeah, going, "Oh, we'll have a cup of coffee, it's fine."
Because I deal a lot with women's health, tell me a little bit more about ladies that are trying to have babies, because that is such a stressful time for them. You know, it's yeah, very tough.
Yeah.
We deal with a person who's dealing with infertility the same way we would deal with anybody else. We literally will start at the top of their head
And work
and work their
down.
way whole way down,
Mhm.
you know, and see what we find. Sometimes the infertility, as you know, it's not because there's a physical problem.
Yep.
You know,
Yeah.
and they're after going to the doctors and they're after getting every test known to man, and the doctors are saying it's unexplained infertility.
And
Yep.
it can be emotional. It can be emotional.
It can be, you know, that there's just too much going on outside of their relationship. You know, work might be a
Stress.
huge factor in it, or, you know, not even work. Sometimes it's their own, not the relationship with their partner, but the relationship with their family or their friends or whomever, like, you know.
Yeah.
With fertility, it's a tough one. Like we always say, we don't really need to know what's wrong with you. We deal with you as a person.
The whole body.
The whole body. You know, it's not just your fertility issue or not just your anxiety. We're dealing with you from head to toe. Do you know what I mean? It isn't anything in particular. We'll clear all the blocks that we feel in your body.
Yeah.
And then we will concentrate. If it's fertility, we will give them tricks, you know, eat the pineapple, keep warm, the hot water bottle,
Hot foods.
you know, we'll give them all the tricks and everything.
And because we've removed all the stale and negative energy that's within their body, they're within whatever the stressful situation then is, be it work, family, whatever.
Ripple effect.
The ripple effect comes, and they're able to compartmentalize, and they're able to not get as wound up by something that used to wind them up, or that used to be like occupying space in their head or their body.
But fertility,
it's a minefield.
It's awful, and I've been there because way back in 97, I had polycystic ovaries, and a cyst had grown over in my stomach, like I was
like you were 6 months pregnant.
I was like I was 6 months pregnant. I had gone to 5 or 6 different doctors. I was put on laxatives and I don't know how many things, and I was saying there's something wrong with my stomach. And in the end, I went down home to Cork, and this lovely, the first woman that actually put her hands on my stomach and said, "Oh my God, there's something going wrong inside here." So an ovary and a tube was removed, and the half of my other ovary was removed. And at that time I just gotten engaged. Holy shit. Like I was told I may not ever have children, and I became obsessed with having kids, clearly obsessed with having kids. So we were told not to use any protection. So from 97 and until I had my first child in 2003, that's how long we were trying for kids. I went and did.
You're 6 years.
6 years. If they told me to stand in the corner on my head for I don't know how long, I would have done anything to get pregnant.
Yeah.
And I was on the last round of Clomid. You can only be on a batch of 6 months of Clomid.
That's
on
right.
the last batch, and I got pregnant. It was like
winning the lotto.
It was like winning the lotto. And like I can really appreciate, like people were saying you're never going to get pregnant because you've got like the teeniest tiny little bit of ovary. Thankfully my husband's sperm was kind of going well. So otherwise it becomes obsessive. Everybody tell you relax, take it easy, but you cannot. It's impossible.
You get very edgy, and people, they mean the best,
Yeah.
they really do. But somebody telling somebody who's trying to get pregnant, just relax and it'll happen. It's like, I don't know, saying, hold your hand over that fire, you won't get pregnant, it'll be fine. How could go wrong? It'll be fine, like, you know.
Yeah,
You know, it just doesn't help. It doesn't help the situation.
And it's really tough. It's really, really tough, and it's emotional. It's a huge emotional journey. It really is.
And once you started dealing with the emotional side of it,
I think so. I think once, like I was using acupuncture to get pregnant, and once I kind of started dealing with me emotionally, I think I kind of chilled out a little bit. Well, that was on baby maybe 3.
No. Once Noreen had the second fella, she was like, I've done it, you know, I have 2 children.
That's all I wanted.
I don't need to take any more medication. She stayed going with her acupuncture and reflexology, which then dealt with all the emotional stuff that was going on. But she was able to go, okay, my family is complete. I have 2 lovely sons. My family is complete. Her body went, oh, thank God she's relaxed at last. And boom, she was pregnant. Just like that.
And then after spending how many years trying to get pregnant, and then I had the 3rd lad, and then I said, oh my God, it's complete now. And then boom, another.
And I had said to Noreen after she had the 3rd lad, my brother had awful fertility problems as well.
Yeah.
And they had to have full IVF, you know, sperm, egg out in a dish, back in again, you know. She got pregnant with the 2nd round of insemination. She got pregnant, you know. And then they had another egg saved, so they went in, you know, or 2. And anyway, she got pregnant. She had another, and they're like that, like her, boom, done. But as soon as her family was complete, she went and got pregnant on her own. And I remember saying to Noreen, you need to be careful, because now that you've done it once on your own, you can do it again. She's like, no way,
I won't. Absolutely, it was an anomaly. It never happened again.
You know how many years it took me to get pregnant. We're so like, oh, we couldn't believe it. And then we were going away for a weekend away, and Noreen's like, I'm not drinking, I'm on antibiotics. And I was like, you're pregnant.
Oh, it's lovely to hear that story, because it is true, and it is, and it's so hard to tell a lady who's trying to get pregnant to relax.
It's so hard.
You know, and I can see it in them. They just want to punch you in the head and tell you, I am relaxed. You know, because it's impossible. It's so hard when you want something so badly.
You can't. And everybody around you is pregnant. Everybody around you is having babies.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's
the only focus you have.
It's so hard, but it can happen. I just like the person that was told that I may not.
She has 1/2 of an ovary.
Yeah. So if I can do it, like if you're meant to, I feel it will happen.
And as we said, once you got rid of all the emotional baggage,
I kind of chilled out and relaxed and just mellowed a little bit in, and it just happened naturally then, really, which we're very blessed, really and truly.
Which is great. 4 boys later.
4 boys later, in a wrecked house.
That's okay.
I can't thank you enough for coming on and explaining what you do. And if anyone wants to be able to contact you for I know you have a waiting list, but if they want to jump on that list, because I've heard so much about you, how can they contact you?
We have a Facebook page.
People send messages
and
by
Instagram.
Facebook. Are we on Instagram?
Yeah,
are we? Oh, we're on Instagram as well.
Clearly, I do that side of it.
And our work number, really.
Yeah, mobile is more.
We're not the best at technology or anything like that, really. But
and because we have 4 children, we have 4 each. I have 4. Noreen has 4. So we get people to text us, because in the very beginning, people used to ring us, but we couldn't guarantee a confidential conversation, because there's always somebody up behind you going, ma'am, you know. So we, again, after a while, we said, you know what, this is not fair on the kids, and it's not fair on the people who is ringing, you know. So we started saying to people, you know, if you text us, we're guaranteed to have a confidential conversation.
We'll message you back. We don't need to know, as we say, we don't need to know details of what's wrong with you. We deal with you as a whole person. Do you know what I mean? It's the whole person. We deal a huge amount. And I was actually just saying, because I do sea swimming, and I was saying to the women at the sea swimming, this time of the year, we used to be slammed with children who were sick, you know. They had coughs and colds and earaches and whatever. But since COVID came in and they're not allowed mixed, the children haven't gotten anything. So I'm going, oh my God, when the masks come off and they're all able to mix again, and because their immunity, like, because they haven't been mixing, and I'm going, oh my God, how long is it to Easter holidays? We'll be fine. Stop it.
They're going to be fine.
And work
and
number.
Our work number.
And what's your Facebook page called?
Healing Therapies. Kiltullagh.
Healing Therapies,
Kiltullagh. Because there's a few healing therapies around the place. And why we say healing therapies is because we're not any one therapy.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
The therapy we use the most is one we've developed ourselves over the last 10 years.
Yeah. That's the one we kind of use the most.
We call it HT techniques because it's one we've developed.
So that's why Healing Therapies Kiltullagh.
Yeah, I just actually went onto the Facebook page to make sure.
It is.
And it is Healing Therapies Kiltullagh.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for all your information. And I always forget to say this, please subscribe to the channel for more updates and things of other people that will be on, coming on. And thank you so much, Emily and Noreen. You've been amazing guests. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Lucy.
Thanks a million.
Thanks.
Bye.